let's come to put option. Okay, I'm quickly again just taking down the facts. Otherwise, give me a minute. So what I will do is I will solve the put option value under single period binomial, because I don't have the value of put option under single period binomial as per the risk neutral method. So I will just pause this video and I will get back to you with the solution on the Excel file. Okay, and then I will solve the value of put option as per replicating portfolio. Okay, so I mean, because risk neutral probability or the risk neutral method approach, I don't really have to show you the valuation of put option. So I don't want to make it as part of this video. I'll just pause it. If you want, you can at your end also solve for the value of the put option as per the risk neutral method. Okay, I will be solving the put option value as per portfolio replication on the notepad along with you. Okay, just give me a moment, guys. Okay, so this is basically the valuation of put option. I've done nothing. I've just solved it as per risk neutral probability method. The only difference is over here, the put option value payoff is 0 on the upside because the spot price is greater than the strike price. And on the bottom side, the put has a payoff of 10.32. I've multiplied the 10.32 with the downside probability, 10.32 into 0.392. So that gives me the expected payoff at t equal to 6. And when I bring the expected payoff at t equal to 6 to today's terms, I get a value of put option of 3.91. This is as per the risk neutral method. Now let us solve the same value of put option as per replicating portfolio. Okay. So firstly, I will just draw the same graph that was over there, or the same payoffs. So we have current share price of 170, which can go either up to 193 or which can fall down up to 148. Let me take the decimal values as well. 193.07 and 148.68. Is it 149.68? Okay. And then the payoff from a put option. Okay, first let me write this as put option so that you guys don't get confused. The payoff of a put option in the upper node is 0, whereas at the bottom node it is 10.32 because we have a strike price of 160. Okay, the bottom side share price is less than the strike price, so the put option ends in the money. So the payoff from the put option is 160 minus 149.68, which is 10.32. Okay, now I'm trying to now replicate a put option. Okay, now if you actually intuitively think of a put option, buying a put option is similar to short selling shares or selling shares. Okay, buying a put option is similar to selling shares. Reason being, both of them are going to create a bearish position for you. Okay, if the share price increases, you lose. If the share price decreases, you gain. Where you gain whether you buy a put option or whether you sell shares. Okay, so intuitively thinking, buying a put option is similar to selling shares. Okay, because both of them create a bearish position for you. But there is a difference. When you buy a put option, you know that as a holder, you will have to actually pay premium. Okay, so you're going to have a cash outflow today. You have to pay premium to the seller of the put option. Whereas when you sell shares, you're actually going to have a cash inflow, right? When you sell shares, you have a cash inflow. When you buy a put option, you have a cash outflow. So buying a put option and selling shares are completely different. Okay. So now what we are going to do is the replicating portfolio of a put option, we are going to create by selling shares and investing money in a bond, or investing or lending money to a third party. Okay, we are going to sell shares and we are going to lend money to a third party, and the amount that we lend to the third party is going to be greater than the amount that we receive when we sell the shares. I will just repeat myself. We are going to create a replicating portfolio for a put option by selling shares. Okay, but I will be lending those proceeds to a third party. Okay, third party, or meaning like some other person. Okay, and we are going to ensure that the amount lent is going to be greater than the amount received from selling of shares. How are we going to do that? I am going to add some own money of mine, which means I'm going to add some income of my own. Okay, I will be adding my own income to the proceeds that I've received on short selling of shares, and the total sum I will be lending to a third party. Okay, so I will be selling shares, taking some money out of my own pocket, adding that to the sale proceeds, and then I will lend to the third party. This will basically ensure that there is a cash outflow from my pocket. Agreed? Because if I lend more money than what I'm receiving on short selling of shares, it means I'm basically taking some money out of my pocket, and in that way, now I'm basically trying to make a put option and this portfolio, this replicating portfolio same, because a put option is also going to have an outflow of some money. A replicating portfolio is also now going to have some outflow of money, because the amount of proceeds that I've lent is greater than my sale proceeds, right? Which means I'm basically taking some money out of my pocket. Okay, there is a cash outflow to me on a net basis. Even if you have not understood, when I take the numbers, you will eventually understand. Okay, so let's go ahead. So what we are going to do is, I will short sell, or I will sell H shares and lend Y. Again, I'm denoting it by Y, that's fine. And I will lend Y, and this is going to be done at t equal to 0. This is going to be done at t equal to 0. And what I was saying was, the amount that I'm going to lend is going to be greater than the amount that I will be receiving on short selling of shares. Okay, we'll see how that is. Okay, don't worry. All right. Now let us look at t equal to 6. There are two possibilities. The first possibility is the share price can be 193.07. Okay, if the share price is 193.07, what is going to be my cash flow on the replicating portfolio? Again, I'm calling this as replicating portfolio. This is the replicating portfolio. If the share price is 193.07, what is the net payoff of my replicating portfolio? The first thing is, the money that I actually lent to the third party, he will pay it back to me, but he will pay it back to me along with interest. So if I lend him Y, I am going to receive Y plus interest. Okay, so the interest is obviously the risk-free rate at 7% per annum. Okay, so the amount that I will be receiving is Y into e power 0.07 into 6 by 12, because I will be lending him only for 6 months. Okay, at t equal to 6, I will be receiving interest for obviously 7% for 6 months only, right? So my proceeds will be Y into e power 0.07 into 6 by 12. And I have basically at t equal to 0, I actually sold shares. Okay, when short selling shares, you know that I will have to borrow shares from somebody else and then sell it in the market. Okay, now at t equal to 6, I have to buy those shares from the market and return those shares back to the lender. Okay, because at t equal to 0, I borrowed those shares from somebody. Okay, and I did not own any shares. I borrowed those shares from somebody else and I sold it in the market, right? Now at t equal to 6, I need to buy shares from the market and return those shares back to the lender. Okay, now if I have to buy shares from the market, I have each share costing me 193.07. Okay, but I don't have to buy one share, I have to buy H shares. Okay, so for me, the cash outflow at t equal to 6 is going to be 193.07 into H, because one share is worth 193. I don't want one share, I need H shares. So the cash outflow for me is going to be 193.07 H. I've denoted cash outflow as negative and I've denoted cash inflow as positive. Okay, now when I'm trying to say that I want this to be a replicating portfolio, I'm basically trying to say that the payoff of this portfolio should be equal to the payoff of a put option. Okay, the payoff of this portfolio should be equal to the payoff of the put option. Only then this portfolio will be called as a replicating portfolio, right? So this payoff of the replicating portfolio, I am equating it to the payoff that the put option will have when the share price is 193. And the payoff that a put option will have when the share price is 193 is 0. Okay, so the payoff of this replicating portfolio should be 0 is what I'm saying. Okay, when I'm equating it to 0, what I'm essentially trying to say is the payoff of this portfolio should equal the payoff of the put option when the share price is 193. The payoff of the put option when the share price is 193 is equal to 0. Okay, so therefore I've equated this to 0. Okay, if we solve this, y into e power 0.07 into 6 by 12 is actually we solved for it above. So I'll just take it from here. it is going to be 1.0356y. It is going to be 1.0356y minus 193.07h equal to 0. This is when the share price is 193.07. There is also a second possibility that the share price will be 149.62, if I'm not wrong, right? 68. Okay. When the share price is 149.68, what is the payoff of this replicating portfolio? What is the payoff of the replicating portfolio? So what will happen is the amount that I lent today, which was equal to y, that person is going to repay it back to me along with interest. Okay. So if you see, the amount that I'm going to receive as repayment is going to be y into e power 0.07 into 6 by 12, which is actually the same as what it was in the first case, because the amount that I'm going to receive back as loan proceeds plus interest is not going to matter whether the share price is 193 or 149. In a loan, what is going to matter is principal, interest, and time period, right? Okay, share price does not matter at all. Therefore, the repayment that I receive is going to be the same whether I'm at the upper node or at the bottom node. What is going to change is the cost of share. Okay, now when I have to, if you remember, I said we actually borrow shares from a broker and then short sell it in the market at t equal to 0. Okay, we borrow shares from somebody else and we short sell it in the market at t equal to 0. Now I have to return those shares back to the lender. Okay, I have to return those shares back to the person who lent me those shares at t equal to 0. Okay, to return those shares, I have to purchase it from the market, and each share is available at 149.68, and I want H number of shares. Therefore, my cash outflow is going to be 149.68 into H. Okay, and this I said should equal the payoff of a put option. Okay, because the replicating portfolio's definition is that the payoff from this portfolio should equal the payoff of a put option when the share price is 149.68. And when the share price is 149.68, the payoff of the put option is actually 10.32. So that is the reason I equate this again with 10.32. It's exactly the same thing what we did in the call option. I'm just repeating so that you are able to understand why we are doing what we are doing. Okay. Y into e power 0.0376 is just going to be 1.0356y, and it's going to be 149.68 h equal to 10.32. Okay, let us say this equation is 1, this equation is 2. I have two unknowns, y and h, and I have two equations. Solving them, I'm doing basically 1 minus 2. What will happen is 1.0356y minus 1.0356y is going to be equal to 0, right? So this will be 0. I have minus 193.07 minus of 149. Okay, so it basically becomes 190 minus 193.07 plus 149.68, because I have minus of minus, right? So this basically becomes minus 43.39h is equal to 0 minus 10.32 equal to minus 10.32. Okay, and now I have minus 43.39h equal to minus 10.32. I have h is equal to, the minus and minus get cancelled, so h is equal to 10.32 divided by 43.39. 10.32 divided by 43.39 is equal to 0.237, or okay, 238 actually, and I'm rounding it off to 0.24. Okay, I'm rounding it off to 0.24. Okay, so h is equal to 0.24. Okay, and then I will input this h into the first equation. Okay, I'm choosing first equation because RHS is equal to 0. It becomes the calculation becomes a little easier. You can also input it in the second equation. You have to get the same answer, no doubt. Okay, so I'm inputting h into the first equation and I will calculate for y. Okay, when I input h into the first equation, it is 1.0356y minus 193.356y minus 193.07 into h. 0.07 into h is nothing but 0.237. 0.24. We're going to have some rounding difference, but I'm okay, is equal to 0. So 1.0356y is equal to, when this term goes on to the RHS, it will become plus, right? 193.07 into 0.24. 193.07 into 0.24. If you want a precise answer, maybe you guys can take up to the third or the fourth decimal, but it's not going to make much of a difference. And that is the reason I'm proceeding with the same. I am getting 46.34, and y is going to be 46.34 divided by 1.0356 equal to 44.74. Okay, so y is equal to 44.74. Okay, fine, we have got some numbers, but first let us interpret those numbers. What we are saying is a put option is equivalent to selling of shares. Okay, we said a put option is equivalent to selling H shares, where H is equal to 0.24. Okay, so put option can be replicated by selling 0.24 shares and lending $44.74 or 44.74 rupees. A put option today can be replicated by selling 0.24 shares. Okay, when you sell 0.24 shares, what you ensure is you're creating a bearish position for you, which a put option also creates. Okay, the put option, when you buy a put option, you're creating a bearish position, right? So to create the same bearish position, you're selling 0.24 shares, okay, and you're lending 44.74, and lending 44.74 actually is going to ensure that you have a net cash outflow today, similar to how you have in a put option. Okay, so the two characteristics of buying a put option is, one, you have a cash outflow today. Two, you are creating a bearish position for yourself. Here also, when you sell 0.24 shares and when you lend 44.74, you ensure that you have a net cash outflow today, and you will have a net cash outflow because the amount that you borrow, the amount that you lend of 44.74 is going to be greater than the sale proceeds on selling of 0.24 shares. Okay, so you lend 44.74 and then you short sell 0.24 shares, and that short selling is creating a bearish position for you. Okay, therefore a put option is equal to shorting, I'm just writing shorting or selling 0.24 shares and lending 44.74. Okay, if you see, the objective was actually to calculate the value of a put option. Okay, we have still not calculated the value of a put option. We have concluded that a put option can be replicated by shorting 0.24 shares and lending 44.74. And if you do that, basically the payoff of that replicating portfolio at t equal to 6 is going to be either 0 or 10.32. And when two securities or two portfolios have the same payoff in future, they must have the same cost today. Okay, so we have a put option at one hand, which is able to give us a payoff of 0 or 10.32, and we have another portfolio which is also able to give us the same payoff. Then this portfolio's cost should equal the value of a put option. Okay, the cost of this portfolio should equal the value of a put option. We do not know the value of put option. So what we are going to do is we will calculate the value of this portfolio and equate that and basically say that the value of a put option is nothing but the value of the portfolio. If this does not hold good in real life, then there will be an arbitrage opportunity. And so as to prevent arbitrage opportunity, value of a put option has to be equal to the value of a replicating portfolio. Okay, I hope I've conveyed this in detail, but still, in case if you have any doubts, I would recommend, I hope you shouldn't have any because I've discussed it at length. Okay, but in case you have, please go back and refer to the replicating portfolio lecture. Okay. So basically what we are going to see is we are going to find the cost of this portfolio today. The cost of the portfolio, or the net cash outflow that you have. The cost of the portfolio is nothing but the net cash outflow. Okay, so you're going to lend 44.74. So you're lending 44.74. That is a cash outflow. Okay, but then you receive some amount by shorting 0.24 shares. Okay, where one share's cost is 170. So the cash inflow that you actually receive is 170 into 0.24, which is equal to 40.8. And if you realize, from the beginning, I have been saying that the amount that we lend is going to be greater than the sale proceeds that we receive from shorting shares. Okay, so basically this has a net cash outflow of 44.74 minus 40.78, which is equal to 3.94. Okay, this 3.94 needs to be understood as basically I am taking 3.94 out of my own income, out of my own savings. I am shorting 40.8 worth of shares. I'm adding the two of them, and then I'm lending money to a third party. Okay, and this is a replicating portfolio, meaning this portfolio's payoff, if I spend 3.94 from my pocket today, I will be able to receive either 0 or 10.32 in future. Again, I'm repeating, I am spending 3.94 from my own pocket. Okay, and if I do that, I will be receiving either 0 or 10.32 in future. And 0 and 10.32 are nothing but the payoff of a put option also. They are the payoff of the replicating portfolio, and they are the payoff of a put option. Okay, so basically, ultimate conclusion is the value of the put option should be equal to cost of replicating portfolio, or the portfolio which consisted of shorting 0.24 shares and lending 44 rupees, which is equal to 3.94. Okay, this is the value of put op. VP over here does not mean value of portfolio, it means value of put option. Okay, the problem with denoting P as put option is you won't understand whether P refers to put or P refers to portfolio. Anyways, okay, we actually knew that the answer was 3.94 because I solved it using the risk neutral method, where I got an answer of 3.91. Okay, had you taken, we actually rounded off H to 0.24. Had you taken that to the third or the fourth decimal, I'm damn sure that you would have got 3.91. Okay, so please don't question those 0.03 rupee difference. Okay, the value of a put option basically refers to if a buyer or if a holder of a put option is buying that option, he has to pay 3.94 as premium to the writer. Okay, that is with regard to valuing put option under the replicating portfolio. So valuing put option under the replicating portfolio of 3.94, cost of put option. Okay, first let me, yeah, okay. 3.94 had two components. I'm just doing as like what we did in for a call option. Okay, 3.94 had two components. One, lending of 44 point something, 44.74, and shorting 0.24 shares, that was equal to 0.24 into 170 is equal to 40.8. And this was actually a cash inflow. Okay, 44.74 is a cash outflow and 40.8 is a cash inflow, right? So put option can be seen as shorting 0.24 shares or delta, shorting delta shares. Delta is 0.24. Okay, I didn't actually introduce shorting. Okay, I will just tell you why I call this as delta. Okay, it's actually not delta, it's minus delta. We have so far understood it as shorting H shares, right? Okay, so it is shorting 0.24 shares and lending 44.74. Okay, the H that we got over here of 0.24, okay, if I just come down, H is actually nothing but minus delta. It is not delta, minus delta of a put option, because if you remember, delta of a put option is again the same y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, the formula for slope, where y2 and y1 are put option values at the upper side and the downside, and x2 and x1 are the share values at the upper side and the downside. Okay, so the y2 minus y1 is 0 minus 10.32. 0 minus 10.32 should obviously be minus 10.32 divided by x2 minus x1 is 193 minus 149. Okay, so basically I have denoted this as x2 y2 and I've denoted this as x1 y1. Okay, where x is the share value, y is the put option value. So 193 minus 149.68. 193.07 minus 149.68. Okay, if you solve this, you will get minus 10.32 divided by 193.07 minus 149.68 is 43.39. Okay, equal to minus 0.237 or 238. Okay, minus 0.238. This is actually the delta of a put option. Okay, because a put option, if you remember, always has a negative signage, because when the share price goes up, the put option value falls. A put option always has a negative signage. The meaning of minus 0.238 means if share price increases by $1, a put option value falls by 0.238. Okay, but the H that we actually got was positive. Okay, the H that we got over there was plus 0.24. That is the reason I referred H as not delta, I referred H as minus delta. Okay, so H is actually minus delta. Okay, and that is the reason over here I've written shorting minus delta shares. Okay, because the delta for a put option is actually negative. You can't short negative shares, right? You can, I mean, when you say shorting, you basically you're selling 100 shares, you're shorting 100 shares. Similarly, we are writing over here, we're shorting 0.24 shares, but the delta of a put option is minus 0.24, and that is the reason I'm saying shorting minus delta shares. Okay, so the cost of a put option has lending of 44.74 and it has shorting of minus delta shares. All right, so H is equal to minus delta in case of a put option. Now, if I actually write the equation of Black-Scholes model, it is present value of exercise price into n of minus D2 less spot price, spot is S0, into n of minus D1. If you see, this is lending component and this is shorting component. Okay, and you know that minus n of minus D1 is actually equal to delta of put option. Okay, minus n of minus D1 is actually the delta of put option. Okay, and here we are actually shorting n of minus D1 units. Okay, we're not shorting, I mean, see, if n of minus D1 is delta of put option, n of minus D1 is equal to minus delta, right? I'm just taking the negative signage from here to the RHS. Okay, so n of minus D1 is equal to minus delta. And if you see over here, you're basically multiplying S by n of minus D1, where n of minus D1 refers to nothing but minus delta. Okay, over here above also you were shorting H shares, where H was minus delta. And in Black-Scholes also, you're shorting H shares, or you're shorting minus delta shares, where minus delta is nothing but n of minus D1. And that shorting is basically represented by minus because they're indicating a cash inflow. In put option under replication model, the 3.94 was broken into 44.74 of outflow. This is basically this component for lending, and shorting had a cash inflow, right? That cash inflow is what they're denoting as negative signage, and n of minus D1 is nothing but minus delta. What we referred to as H over there was also minus delta. Here also we are basically shorting minus delta shares. Okay, and if you remember, the value of a put option that we got under the Black-Scholes model was 2.7. Okay, the value of the put option that we got under, otherwise let me not do this. I will just straight away, in the interest of time, do a comparison between binomial and Black-Scholes. Okay, this is binomial and this is Black-Scholes. Okay, the value of a put option as per binomial was 3.91 or 94, whatever. Okay, and the value of put option under Black-Scholes was 2.7. Okay, it was 2.7. So basically the calculation of put option has basically improved. I'm not again talking about the numbers. Please don't see or don't bother about whether it increased or decreased. It is basically, I'm trying to say that the value of that you've got under Black-Scholes model is a better value, because Black-Scholes is a, I mean, basically Black-Scholes divides that whole 6-month contract, a 6-month period into multiple small periods, right? It does not have those restrictive assumptions like that of a binomial. Okay. What we found out as H was equal to minus delta under binomial, which was equal to 0.24. Okay, 0.24 or 0.238. Under Black-Scholes model, we had n of minus D1 equal to minus delta equal to, I think, n of minus D1 was 0.2077. Okay, so 0.21, if I can write it right, 0.2077 is nothing but 0.21. Okay, so again, if you see over here, the value of delta has also, the methodology or the mechanism through which Black-Scholes is calculating delta has now brought the change in delta from 0.24 to 0.21. I mean, it's actually the delta has changed from minus 0.24 to minus 0.21. Okay, because the delta of a put option is negative, right? So delta under binomial was minus 0.24. The Black-Scholes model delta was minus 0.21, but we are shorting minus delta shares. Okay, we're shorting plus 0.24 shares under binomial, and we're shorting plus 0.21 shares under Black-Scholes. Okay, now if I have to split the value of put option of 3.94 into its components, we had lending of 44 point something, lending 44.74, which we denoted as Y. Okay, we denoted basically the amount to be lent as Y, right? And that was off. So lending was basically a cash outflow that was offset by selling delta share, selling minus delta shares that equaled 0.24 into 170 per share. Okay, 0.24 into 170 is 40.8. This is a cash inflow, right? So the net cash outflow of 3.94 comprised of lending of 44.74 and short selling of 0.24 shares of 40. Which gave us sale proceeds of 40.8. The value of a put option under Black-Scholes was 2.7, which comprised of lending, or this, okay, let me go above. This present value of exercise price into n of minus D2 can be thought of as buying n minus D2 units of zero coupon bonds. Okay, if let's say you have zero coupon bonds whose face value is exercise price, the present value is the price of, I mean, the present value of that face value is nothing but the current market price of that zero coupon bond. Okay, so the current market price of that zero coupon bond is what is being denoted by PV of E, right? PV of E is nothing but the present value of the zero coupon bond whose face value is E and whose maturity is 6 months later. Okay, I am buying n minus D2 units, because when I buy, I'm basically lending money, right? If I'm buying n minus D2 units of zero coupon bonds, that is equivalent to lending. Okay, so this lending is actually equal to buying n minus D2 units of zero coupon bond. Okay, I don't know. I mean, yeah, this is one part. All right, so lending is basically buying n minus D2 units of zero coupon bonds. So we are lending is equal to present value of exercise price into n of minus D2, which was equal to, in our present value of exercise price into n minus D2 was 38.01. Okay, it was 38.01, and I am now selling minus delta shares over here also, where delta is nothing but n minus D1, right? Minus delta is nothing but n minus D1. I'm shorting n minus D1 shares, where n minus D1, like we saw over here, is 0.21. So I'm shorting 0.21 shares into 170. So the total value that I'm receiving on shorting 0.21 shares is 35.70. Okay, so the net cash outflow of 2.7 under the Black-Scholes model can be thought of as outflow of 38.01 and outflow because I am buying n minus D2 units of zero coupon bonds whose face value is exercise price and whose term to maturity is 6 months, and I have an offsetting by shorting n minus D1 units of shares, where n minus D1 is nothing but minus delta, where that is equal to 0.21, and per share value is 170, which is equal to 35.7. So if you actually see, lending, the amount that I'm lending under binomial was 45 almost, and it has come down to 38, a decrease of about $7 or 7 rupees, right? There is a decrease in lending from 44 to 38, or 45 to 38, which is equal to $7. Okay. And there is a decrease in the sale proceeds also that I'm receiving on short selling of shares because of the change in minus delta. Okay, minus delta over here was 0.24, whereas under the Black-Scholes it was 0.21. Okay, the share price is the same under both the models. So the amount that I'm receiving on shorting shares has come down from 40.8 to 35.7. So that is a decrease of about $5. Okay, so if you see, lending has come down by $7, and shorting has come down by about $5 in such a way that the net value of a put option has also come down. I mean, basically because I've rounded off, I got 7 minus 5 as decrease of $2 in put option, but the put option has actually only decreased by $1.2. Okay, that's just a rounding difference. Don't pay much attention to that. Okay, so basically lending has come down, and the amount of proceeds that I receive on shorting of minus delta shares has also come down. Therefore, the net cash outflow as per Black-Scholes model is only 2.7 for the replicating portfolio, which is also equal to the value of a put option, whereas under binomial, it is 3.94. Okay, of course, Black-Scholes model is a better version of the binomial because it does not have those restrictive assumptions. I hope I have done enough justice. I've written the same as part of the PowerPoint presentation also. Just let me bring it up on the screen. Okay, so basically I've just elaborated whatever I've written, whatever I've explained, I've just elaborated that over here. So I would probably leave this to you for reading. What we are essentially trying to say is the cost of the replicating portfolio should be equal to the value of the option, and the replicating portfolio is defined as leverage stock buying for a call option. And now if you look at the Black-Scholes model formula, the Black-Scholes model formula has S0 into ND1, which means buying delta shares. Less over here refers to shorting ND2 units of zero coupon bonds whose face value is the exercise price. Okay, you're shorting ND2 units of zero coupon bonds. Or shorting basically refers to borrowing. When you buy, you're lending. When you're shorting, you're borrowing money. Okay, a face value equal to exercise price, and the present value K into E power minus RT is the price of those zero coupon bonds today. Okay. Now, put option can be viewed as K into E power minus RT is the price of those zero coupon bonds. You're lending means buying. You're buying N minus D2 units of zero coupon bonds, and then that is being offset by shorting N minus D1, where N minus D1 is equal to minus delta. Okay, N minus D1 is equal to minus delta. You're shorting N minus D1 units of shares. Okay, so I've elaborated it. I have one slide for call option using replication, and I have one slide for put option. Put option can be replicated as buying a bond which is financed partially through short selling. Okay, buying a bond which is partially financed through short selling. Buying a bond is nothing but lending. Okay, I'll just add the word lending also over here to be consistent with what I've spoken. And then if you look at the Black-Scholes method formula, that is the same. Okay, so but the fundamental reason why we have applied the replicating portfolio is because if there are two portfolios having the same payoff in future, they must have the same price today to prevent arbitrage. Okay, and all models are basically on the basis of prevention of arbitrage. Okay, so what we have done under call and put option is we've created a portfolio which has the same payoff as that of call or put option at t equal to 6, depending on what the share price will be. And then we calculated the cost of this portfolio, and we said that the cost of this portfolio must equal to the value of a call option and a put option today. Okay, thank you. I think I've made enough justice. It was a fairly long session. In the next video, we'll be basically trying to interpret Black-Scholes method as per risk neutral method. Okay, that is going to have some math. I hope this was actually not complicated math. Okay, it was probably only little logic. The only math that was involved is actually calculating H and Y, which was a fairly easy task. Okay, it is basically a simple mathematics. but interpreting Black-Scholes under risk neutral method has got some complications. Okay, you will be hopefully facing hiccups, but the best thing is it's only for you to understand. Nobody is going to test that in examination. Okay, it gives you, it basically allows you to, you know, develop an understanding on what Black-Scholes is doing. Otherwise, if you actually look at this formula, Black-Scholes is going to appear to you as Greek and Latin, right? Okay, it's more to understand what is happening within the Black-Scholes method. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.